I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics that I do not get to talk about enough on this channel, and that is whole milk. And I want to go through 5 reasons why I think whole milk should be considered an essential part of your diet if you're a healthy adult. Let's start off with reason number 1, which is that it's rich in nutrients. There's so many nutrients in whole milk. Obviously, we know it's rich in calcium and vitamin D, but there's also a lot of other nutrients that are present. It's a really good source of phosphorus, potassium, selenium, vitamin B12, riboflavin, and even zinc. So many people don't get enough zinc in their diets, and they could potentially get more by incorporating more whole milk into their diets. Now, of course, this is only true for grass-fed, grass-finished organic whole milk. There's not as much nutrition in commercial grain-fed milk from conventional dairies. But nonetheless, even that milk is going to have far more nutrition than any milk alternative out there. Alright, reason number 2, it's full fat, full flavor. If you drink skim milk or 2% milk, I just feel sorry for you because you're missing out on all the flavor that's in whole milk. I used to drink skim milk when I was younger, and I didn't realize how much I was missing out until I switched over to whole milk. And whole milk tastes great in coffee. In fact, I would argue that if you're drinking coffee, especially if you're drinking coffee with cream, you might as well just drink it with whole milk. Why? Because whole milk tastes better. It's going to add more flavor to your coffee. You're going to need less of it to get the same amount of creaminess, and it's got more nutrients like I mentioned earlier. So why would you downgrade the quality of the milk? Just get the best milk, which is whole milk. Now some people will say, well, I've heard that if you drink whole milk, you'll get more hungry because it has more calories. Well, yes, it does have more calories, but I don't find that it affects my hunger at all. In fact, I can drink a glass of skim milk and feel hungry an hour later, but I can drink a glass of whole milk and feel totally satisfied and full for hours afterwards. So I think the higher fat content helps you feel more satiated, and it won't make you hungrier. Alright, reason number 3. It can help you absorb nutrients from other foods. What am I talking about here is the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients. Things like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and certain phytochemicals. So, for example, if you eat a salad and you have some whole milk with that salad, you're going to absorb more fat-soluble nutrients from that salad than if you had skim milk with it. This is because milk fat itself contains vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin E. And when these two foods are consumed together, they can enhance each other's bioavailability. This also applies to other foods that contain fat-soluble nutrients, such as organ meats, egg yolks, fish eggs, and certain types of fish. When you consume these with whole milk, you'll absorb more nutrients than if you consume them with skim milk. Alright, reason number 4. Whole milk is good protein. Now, when people think of milk, they usually think of carbohydrates because that's what they're told. They don't realize that milk is actually very high in protein. 1 cup of whole milk provides around 8 grams of protein. That's nearly 1/3 of the daily requirement for adults. And it's a complete protein source containing all 9 essential amino acids. If you think about it, protein per calorie, milk is actually one of the best sources out there. For example, 1 cup of cooked chicken breast provides about 6 grams of protein and 270 calories, whereas 1 cup of whole milk provides 8 grams of protein and only 150 calories. That's almost twice as much protein per calorie. Many times people recommend getting protein from animal sources and carbohydrates from plant sources. But what's wrong with getting both the carbohydrates and the protein from animal sources? Milk is high in both. And if you're healthy enough to digest it, then why not take advantage of the extra protein and the extra nutrients that it offers over other protein sources? Personally, I get most of my protein from animal sources anyways: beef, lamb, pork, bacon, eggs, fish, and seafood. And then I also get some protein from fermented vegetables. Then, of course, there's milk, which is another excellent protein source that I incorporate into my diet. And since we're on the topic of protein, let me point out that milk is also a good source of whey protein. Whey is one of the best protein supplements out there, And although I don't recommend taking protein supplements if you're not an athlete or someone who regularly does hard physical labor, milk is already loaded with whey protein, so why not drink it? Alright, last but not least, reason number 5. Drink milk or use it in your coffee. I mean, look at this thing. Who do you think is going to win? The guy who drinks nothing but decaffeinated skim milk or the guy who has whole milk in his coffee? Exactly. Milk in general, especially whole milk, has a lot of awesome properties. So why would you try to downgrade it? And by the way, this goes for everything in life. Just because something is good doesn't mean it's good for you. But if something is good for you, it's definitely good. And whole milk is definitely good for you. It's something that everyone, especially healthy adults, should enjoy. Now, of course, if you have a milk allergy or lactose intolerance, then obviously you shouldn't consume it. But for the vast majority of people, it's perfectly fine. And if you're worried about drinking too much milk, well, first of all, if you're healthy, there's no real upper limit to how much milk you can drink. Second of all, if you're healthy, your body will tell you when you've had enough. You see, if you're unhealthy, that's when you run into problems like bloating, diarrhea, constipation, etc. But if you're healthy, you shouldn't have those problems. So, stop worrying about it. Drink milk. Enjoy it. Now, since we're on the topic of dairy, there are 2 videos that come to mind that I want to recommend to you. The first one is my video on raw milk, which discusses several health benefits that you may not know about, and the second one is my video on cheese, which goes into detail about why cheese is such a nutrient-dense superfood. You can check them out by clicking the links above. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will see you in the next video. Hey, before you go, if you're benefiting from any of my content, I would love to hear about your success story. Please share it in the link down below.